There is a plant that turns dead clay into black soil in a single season. It manufactures its own fertilizer from thin air. It drills through hardpan that stops tractors. The United States Army documented its power to resurrect bombed-out battlefields in the Pacific Theater. And someone made very sure you would never learn its name. This is not folklore. This is not some permaculture fantasy. This is declassified military history. Agronomists working in conditions that should have made agriculture impossible watched this plant transform scorched earth into productive ground. They wrote reports. They filed documentation. They knew exactly what they had found. So here is the question that should be burning in your mind right now. If something this powerful exists, if it is documented, if it works, why have you never heard of it? Welcome to Nature's Blacklist. Let me tell you what is happening beneath your feet right now. Global topsoil is disappearing at a rate that should terrify anyone who eats food. The United Nations estimates we have roughly 60 harvests left at current degradation rates. 60. That is not a century problem. That is your lifetime. And here is the trap. Every year, the soil gets weaker. Every year, farmers need more fertilizer to get the same yield. Every year, the price of that fertilizer climbs higher. In 2022, nitrogen fertilizer prices hit levels not seen in decades. Some farmers simply could not afford to plant. This is not a natural cycle. This is engineered dependency. The system works like this. You exhaust your soil. You buy inputs to compensate. The inputs exhaust your soil faster. You buy more inputs. The cycle never breaks, because breaking it would mean you stop buying. But here is what the seed catalogs do not show you anymore. There was a time when farmers did not need any of this. They knew something. A technique, a plant, a piece of biological machinery that regenerated soil without a single dollar spent on synthetic inputs. That knowledge did not disappear on its own. It was buried. What I am about to show you is not theory. It is documented history that someone decided you did not need to know. The year is 1944, the Pacific Theater. American forces are island hopping toward Japan, and every piece of ground they capture looks like the surface of the moon. Bombardment, napalm, chemical defoliants, tank treads grinding soil into powder. These islands were not just damaged, they were biologically sterilized. In operations across the Philippine archipelago and the Mariana Islands, places like Saipan, Guam, and later Okinawa, the devastation was absolute. Soil that had supported tropical agriculture for centuries was reduced to calcium-white ash mixed with shrapnel. The pH was destroyed. The organic matter was incinerated. You could dig 3 feet down and find nothing alive. The military had a logistics problem that nobody talks about today. You cannot maintain forward operations if the ground produces nothing. Supply lines stretched thousands of miles across open ocean. Every pound of food shipped was a pound of ammunition that was not. The brass needed local food production, and they needed it fast. Standard agriculture was useless. Nothing in the USDA handbook addressed how to farm a battlefield. The soil was not just poor, it was dead. So they turned to something older. Military agronomists observed what indigenous populations across the tropics had known for centuries. Certain plants do not just survive in devastated soil, they heal it. They studied traditional farming systems in Central America, the Caribbean, West Africa, and the Pacific Islands themselves. They found patterns. Specific legumes planted before everything else. Not for food. for the soil itself. The Army tested it. They documented it. They implemented it at scale across multiple island operations. Soil that had been dead for months began supporting crops within a single growing cycle. The contrast was stark. Ground that looked like a lunar wasteland one season was producing vegetables the next. This worked. The evidence exists. The documentation is real. But what the Army discovered in those islands was not just a plant. It was a threat. A threat to an industry that was about to become one of the largest on Earth. So why did this knowledge vanish from American agriculture within 20 years? Let me show you something. In the 1940s, seed catalogs across America sold what they called green manure seeds. This was standard practice. Farmers understood that certain crops existed purely to feed the soil, not the farmer. The concept was so common, it did not need explanation. Now consider this. The global synthetic fertilizer market is worth over $200 billion annually. $200 billion every year. That revenue depends entirely on one thing: farmers who cannot regenerate their own soil. Do the math. Every farmer who learns to restore fertility naturally is a customer lost. Every gardener who stops buying bags of nitrogen is revenue evaporated. Every acre that heals itself is an acre that stops purchasing. In the 1960s, something called the Green Revolution swept global agriculture. High-yield crop varieties, mechanization, and synthetic inputs. Lots of synthetic inputs. This was sold as progress, feeding the world. But here is what they do not mention. The Green Revolution also swept traditional soil regeneration knowledge out of agricultural education, out of extension services, out of seed catalogs. The farmers who remembered how to heal soil without buying anything were labeled primitive. Their techniques were called outdated. If you find a seed catalog from 1945, you will see entire sections dedicated to soil-building crops, green manures, cover crops, nitrogen fixers. Find a catalog from 1975, and those sections are gone, replaced by advertisements for synthetic fertilizers. The knowledge did not fade gradually. It was edited out. Within one generation, knowledge that had sustained agriculture for thousands of years simply disappeared from mainstream practice. I am not going to call this a conspiracy. I am going to show you the plant they erased and let you decide for yourself what to call it. After everything you have just learned, the military documentation, the billions at stake, the systematic erasure, you would expect this plant to have some exotic, complicated name. Something that sounds like a pharmaceutical patent. It does not. It is called Jack Bean, Canavalia ensiformis. A name so simple, so unremarkable, that it hides in plain sight. And that is exactly the point. Let me introduce you to what this plant actually does. Think of it less as a crop and more as biological machinery designed specifically to resurrect dead ground. First, the root system. Jack Bean sends roots down 2 meters or more, 6 feet straight down into soil. Most vegetables root in the top 6 inches. Jack Bean drills through compacted hardpan that stops tractors. Picture rebar being driven through concrete. That is what these roots do to your clay. They physically shatter the prison that suffocates your soil. When those roots decompose, they leave channels, highways for water, air, and future roots, infrastructure that lasts years after the plant is gone. Second, nitrogen fixation. This is where the economics get devastating for the fertilizer industry. Jack Bean captures nitrogen directly from the atmosphere and deposits it into your soil. The same nitrogen you pay premium prices for in bags of synthetic fertilizer, this plant manufactures for free. We are talking 150 to 200 kilograms per hectare, per growing cycle. Zero cost. The nitrogen this single plant produces equals approximately $150 to $200 worth of synthetic fertilizer per acre, every season, without buying anything. Third, tolerance. Jack Bean laughs at conditions that kill other plants. pH from 4.5 to 8.0. Acidic soil? It grows. Alkaline soil? It grows. Ground so degraded that nothing else will germinate? That is exactly where Jack Bean was designed to thrive. Fourth, biomass. When you cut this plant and incorporate it into the soil, you are adding massive amounts of organic matter. You are giving a transfusion to dying ground. Now you understand what this plant does, but you still do not understand why it was erased. That requires one more piece of the puzzle. Every one of these capabilities was documented. Every one was known, and every one was systematically removed from common agricultural knowledge, right as the synthetic fertilizer industry was scaling to global dominance. The biology behind this is not mysterious. It is one of the most studied processes in agricultural science. Jack Bean forms a symbiotic relationship with soil bacteria called rhizobium. These bacteria colonize nodules on the plant's roots. Inside those nodules, atmospheric nitrogen is converted into ammonia, a form plants can use. This is called biological nitrogen fixation. It is one of the most important processes in all of agriculture, and it happens without a single input from you. This is not fringe science. This is established biochemistry. The same process powers the entire legume family: beans, peas, clover, alfalfa. What makes Jack Bean exceptional is the scale at which it operates and the conditions under which it thrives. Research institutions around the world have documented these effects. Embrapa in Brazil has published extensive studies on Jack Bean as a cover crop for tropical soil restoration. A 2018 study from the Federal University of Lavras demonstrated significant improvements in soil organic matter and nitrogen content after just 2 cycles of Jack Bean cover cropping. Agricultural universities in India have tested it for degraded farmland recovery. Research programs across Africa have validated its performance in some of the most challenging growing conditions on Earth. This technique is still actively used in certified organic agriculture. Organic farmers who cannot use synthetic nitrogen depend on plants like Jack Bean to build fertility naturally. The knowledge never completely died. It just moved to the margins, where industrial agriculture could not profit from it. This plant is not unknown to science. It is unknown to you. There is a difference. The research exists. The documentation exists. The proof exists. What does not exist is any incentive for the fertilizer industry to tell you about it. Everything I have told you so far means nothing if you cannot act on it. So let me give you exactly what the seed catalogs stopped printing 50 years ago. Finding seeds. Jack Bean is not in mainstream catalogs, but it has not been completely erased. Suppliers specializing in cover crops still carry it. Search for Southern Exposure Seed Exchange, Peaceful Valley Farm Supply, or Johnny's Selected Seeds. Online permaculture networks and seed libraries are another source. The seeds exist. You just will not find them at the garden center next to the Miracle Grow. Geographic considerations. In the continental United States, Jack Bean thrives in USDA zones 7 through 11. If you are in zones 5 or 6, treat it as an annual warm season cover crop planted after your last frost date, typically late May or early June. In tropical and subtropical climates, Jack Bean can be grown nearly year-round. In temperate zones, you are working within a summer window, but one growing season is enough to see significant soil improvement. Planting. This is a warm season crop. Wait until soil temperatures reach at least 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Plant seeds 1 to 2 inches deep. Spacing can be generous because jack bean spreads aggressively. 6 inches between seeds is common. Wider spacing works if seed quantity is limited. Growing conditions. Full sun preferred. Jack bean tolerates partial shade, but performs best with direct light. Watering needs are moderate once established. This plant evolved to survive neglect. Incorporation timing. Here is the critical decision. You want to cut and incorporate jack bean before it sets mature seed. Most growers aim for the flowering stage or just before. This is when nitrogen content in the plant tissue peaks. Cut the plant at ground level. Chop the biomass. Incorporate it into the top several inches of soil. Let it decompose. What to expect? Be realistic. This is not instant miracle. You are rebuilding biological systems that took years to destroy. Visible improvement in soil structure often appears within one growing cycle. Dramatic transformation takes 2 or 3 cycles. Each rotation builds on the last. Document your results. Take before photos. Record what you observe. Share what you learn. This knowledge only spreads if people like you carry it forward. Remember where we started. Dead soil. Cracked clay. A world where farmers are trapped in cycles of dependency, buying more inputs every year just to maintain yields that keep declining. You now know something different. You know that a plant exists that shatters compacted ground, manufactures its own fertilizer from thin air, thrives in conditions that kill everything else, and was systematically erased from common knowledge right as the fertilizer industry exploded into a $200 billion market. This is not a coincidence. And now that you know, the question becomes what you do with this information. If you knew about jack bean before this video, drop a comment. I want to know how many of us still carry this knowledge from an older generation. If you are planning to grow this plant, come back and tell me what happens. Videos like this only continue to exist if you show me they matter. If you know someone fighting dead, exhausted soil, someone trapped in the fertilizer dependency cycle, share this with them. This knowledge was buried once. It does not have to stay buried. If this vault opened something for you, subscribe to Nature's Blacklist and hit the bell. Every like and every share helps preserve what they tried to erase. Some plants are too useful to patent. Some solutions are too cheap to profit from. And some knowledge refuses to stay forgotten. The next vault opens soon.